she did a wonderful dramatic effect at one point of just, she turned to face the wall and walked up to the wall so that her shadow drew in, and she was in a moment of despair, and she sang one note sort of clearly and without waver, kept to the note as it faded slowly, and it wasn't even a very high note. A really first-rate composer knows you don't need high notes to make dramatic points.
Hello and welcome back to Music with Mascots. My mascot today is Cousin John Yohalem. The little mascots are all upstairs enjoying the beautiful weather here in the Berkshires. And last night, John and I went to a wonderful production of the opera Vanessa. This is the first time we've done an opera review on here. I know you guys are used to little vinyl reviews and more jazz than classical, but I've done a few classical things too, as you know. The nice thing about this channel is you can go to the homepage and pick playlists of the stuff that you like. If you don't like this, just go there and find the jazz playlists, or you can find the classical playlists and click on those and watch those. And don't watch this if you don't like opera. But if you love opera or you love classical, stick around. You might find us a little bit chatty and uninteresting, or you might find us a little bit chatty and interesting. Leave the comments down below. And if you enjoy this, please remember to hit the like and subscribe and help our channel grow. I'm going to let John introduce the opera and the cast to us. Wonderful, wonderful little production.
I don't know much about the cast, and in the modern style, they didn't list them in the program. You had to click on something, and
we can put a link on that
yeah,
below. We'll put a link to the production.
Okay. Samuel Barber was born into a musical family in Philadelphia. His aunt was Louise Homer, the greatest American mezzo-soprano of her time. Grew up, and by the time he was 9, he had decided he wanted to be a composer. But a composer of what? And there weren't many American operas in those days, and today there are lots of them. They're just never performed. Some of them are worthy of being performed, and at least one of those was composed by Samuel Barber. His partner for many years was Giancarlo Menotti, who definitely had the opera gene and wanted to write lots of them, and did, although after a while they stopped being very popular. But some of the early ones ran on Broadway, had rather a mystical sense. He wrote librettos also, and he wrote the libretto for Vanessa, for Sam Barber's first grand opera, which premiered at the Met in 1958 with an amazing cast led by the great and incredibly versatile Eleanor Steber. Nikolai Gedda, the great Swedish tenor, who is on the recording of the opera, is the one you can understand every word of. The libretto is in English. It's by Menotti. Menotti was focusing at the time on, they say, on the stories of Isaac Dinesen, which are sort of surreal fables in the tradition of E.T.A. Hoffmann. And this idea of something mysterious, something not quite realistic, something imaginative, with strange, troubling subtexts, struck Barber as the perfect idea for an opera. It wasn't a very American idea, but neither is opera. And he had studied European music and how the machine works, how singing in this way and not in that way guides the plot and keeps you interested and puts the whole machine together in a dramatic form. Opera is both told in words and in music, and sometimes in dance, and sometimes in acting out, and sometimes with sets and costumes and lighting, and it's more variables than you can shake a stick at.
And lighting and lack of set here plays a huge role.
Well, Vanessa was written to be set in a grand country house of perhaps the turn of the century with lots of servants going in and out, although none of them have lines. And this grand aristocratic family with secrets. They all have secrets. And they're all not behaving quite realistically about these secrets. I mean, the average person on breaking up with the love of their life does not cover the mirrors and sit alone for 20 years brooding about it.
Very long Shiva.
Yes. And a very waspy Shiva. But wherever this takes place, some Nordic country is all Menotti and Barber said. But that's rather an expensive way to stage it.
Yes.
And although it did get done by major opera houses, both in America and in Europe, it not remain in the repertoire. It did not have popular tunes that people hummed in the street, although the quintet is quite famous. It's probably the most famous concertato from any American opera. And the opera has warm admirers as well as a vast array of opera fans who have never heard of it. They hired R.B. Schlather, who likes to take old pieces and see them in a totally different light and using totally different modern methods to set things up. He did a number of Handel operas at the Opera House in Hudson, also in an art gallery in New York where I saw several of them.
This brings it to a new audience, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, an awful lot of people there seem to know it. I suspect they know it. But this staging was very different from the realistic ones I have seen, and had been edited somewhat and musically cut down to 7 instrumentalists playing a dozen instruments. Kind of like a Broadway pit orchestra. And Barber's music, which is carefully orchestrated, was well arranged for that sort of thing. And the set was a bare white wall to stand in for the grand overfurnished mansion. A few overstuffed armchairs that got moved around by the various characters. And the thing that really set this production apart is some very large spotlights, I'm not sure what the technical term is for the ones they use, that moved around such that behind the characters got in front of them and then moved together or behind, or they would turn one on and another one off.
Yeah, and I noticed they pivoted. They could pivot from side to side, and they could partially block one to shut off one side of the stage and light up the other side of the stage. It was very effective.
Yes, and it gave you the sensation that all the characters had doppelgangers with them, this is an opera about people who have secrets that they keep from some characters but not from others. Sometimes they keep these secrets from themselves.
You pointed out to me the line in the beginning that Erica had.
Oh, Erica, when Anatole, the stranger who has arrived at the mansion, who is the son of the man who was the lover of Vanessa, meets Vanessa's young companion, protege, Erica, and asks her who she is. She says, "Sometimes I am her niece, but mostly I am her shadow." And this, I think, was the keynote for Schlather's staging. Everyone has shadows that follow them or disappear as the singer moves closer to the light or farther from the light, and the shadow will vanish. And so you know the shadow is not there in this particular conversation, particular confrontation, and then is very much there and is not always doing the sort of things that the person casting the shadow would appear to be doing. So there was yet another text beside the subtext provided by the music, which is moody in the sort of Wagnerian psychological style. So that they're telling a couple of stories at the same time, which is one of the great things about opera. It can do that in ways that plays can do, but it's harder. Opera, it's easier. It flows with that. The singing, the style of the singing, the orchestration of the music, the way the themes evolve in the music and change key and develop and so forth. This creates character and psychological subtext. And this was beautifully put over in, this version was cut down to about 100 minutes. It's usually, say, 3 hours with 2 intermissions.
Well, that's quite a bit cut then.
Well, they cut the intermissions.
That's it.
And it was shortened, and it was done without an intermission at all, and it just flowed along, and nobody got lost, and nobody got tired. It was a small space. It was about 200, 250 people.
I would agree with that, probably, yeah.
And the production close to sold out, and they had a long waiting list, and they managed to get them all seated around the
they were
area.
adding a few chairs at the end there, but they had the space for them.
Most American operas really do better in smaller houses, in more intimate houses, and this is one reason they don't appear in grand opera houses, which don't know what to do with them.
Sometimes, though, I think that smaller, intimate setting works better for the audience and the sound.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. And Vanessa, which did not succeed, ran a couple of seasons at the Met, but was not a great hit there in 1958. Perhaps the musical idiom, which now seems classical to us, was not the idiom opera goers were accustomed to. And now they're accustomed to all sorts of things they weren't accustomed to in 1958.
Yep.
The singers were all very good and had sizable voices that expressed, although there were subtitles, that expressed what was going on and blended beautifully and did not have to, without strain. They were none of them familiar to me. Hearbeat Opera presented this, and Hearbeat is a company that does unusual things with old operas in New York. They recently did Salome with a chamber orchestra. I missed that. My friends who saw it loved it.
I was impressed with all of the voices. Every one of them was exquisite.
Yeah.
At least to my non-professional listening ear. So if you like this kind of music but are not a professional aficionado, you will still appreciate these voices. You're not going to be put off by any of them. They're beautiful. They're going to draw you in.
The melodies, which bring the character forward.
Yes.
And Vanessa's slightly hysterical sense of herself. Does she really see anybody else?
Yes, the character calls for that.
Yes.
And you definitely feel it. Yeah.
And the rather Chekhovian doctor who talks to himself and gets drunk.
A little comic relief.
Yes. And Anatole, the man quarreled over by the two women, his father was named Anatole and sort of ruined his life with his obsession with Vanessa, while Vanessa I think it was you who someone brought up Miss Havisham. No, my friend Christopher brought up Miss Havisham.
Yes, a younger version.
She's still young. She's still beautiful. She has kept herself as non-aging as possible because she was certain Anatole loved her too much and would have to return. Instead, he has died, and his son, another Anatole, has come in. And whether he's sincere in any of his feelings, aside from envy for the wealth that Vanessa has stashed away, is never clear.
And I kind of wondered at one point if maybe his motivation was revenge because Vanessa kind of destroyed his parents' marriage, which is mentioned early on.
Yes.
And I wondered if that was a motivation, but then I realized, okay, no, he's really after the money. Yeah.
But he has no objection to sleeping with a couple of women on the way to it.
Yeah.
And exactly how well he knows himself might be questioned, which is true of every one of the characters, including Vanessa's mother, the old Baroness, who sits there, who refuses to talk to Vanessa because she regards her as having betrayed herself emotionally. And later, when Erica does the same, suddenly she finds her grandmother, the Baroness, won't speak to her either. But she has a beautiful mezzo. I believe Regina Resnick sang it in the original production, and fills in. There has to be someone there for other characters to confide in, and that's one of the functions she plays. And all of these come together in the magnificent quintet at the end of the opera. This is something young opera composers don't know how to do. They want to put all the words clearly, therefore they don't have people sing at the same time. And of course, if you've seen romantic operas from the 19th century, everybody always sings at the same time, and yet you understand exactly what they're saying. If not the words, you understand the music, and the intertwining of the music makes the drama work so well. And in Vanessa, this happens. There's a sort of happy ending at the end, but not overwhelmingly happy. Everyone has doubts, and their voices all blend together on a single text, but intertwining the text. And it's a very moving piece, and it brings the opera to a conclusion on just the right note. And this is something I miss in so many modern operas. They just nobody knows how to do that, how to make the music bring the drama to the foreground. And it's very satisfying to have it in Vanessa. But I did think during the performance, there are so many excellent operas from this era that were never overwhelmingly popular, that couldn't compete with La Traviata or Tristan and Isolde, but were successful in their own terms and have been revived with success since then. And there isn't a little company exploring that repertory, an American repertory that really could balance it. There are the singers to perform it. There are stage directors who have wonderful things with it, tremendously creative things like this production. This is not the only time I've seen a tremendously creative modern production by a small company doing something like The Ballad of Baby Doe or Regina or The Consul or Trouble in Tahiti or Lizzie Borden. These are worthwhile pieces, and the public will enjoy them. And I even enjoy the Gertrude Stein operas, where you really do have to hear the words clearly, or it's part of the music. You just don't get Virgil Thompson's music by its own. It doesn't stand.
The names of the performers. You look those up.
Oh, right.
Let's get those in.
Good. I don't know anything about them except what was in
That's
the
all right.
program.
We can tell them who they are.
Good, yes.
They deserve recognition.
Yeah. And now can I read this? Ina Dukac was the Vanessa. A beautiful woman with a beautiful soprano. She did a wonderful dramatic effect at one point of she turned to face the wall and walked up to the wall so that her shadow drew in. And she was in a moment of despair, and she sang one note sort of clearly and without waver, kept to the note as it faded slowly, and it wasn't even a very high note. A really first-rate composer knows you don't need high notes to make dramatic points. You can do it with notes in the middle range or low notes. But the text and the staging met flawless. Erica was Ori Marcu, who is from the Bronx. She obviously studied with terrific people. The part is designed, it's a mezzo part, to sort of not take the foreground. Vanessa is flamboyant, and Erica slowly makes her points, takes the only dramatic actions of the production.
She does it beautifully.
Yeah. And the Baroness was Mary Phillips, also American. The Anatole was a tenor named Roy Haig, of whom I know nothing. He is Lebanese. He says very proudly that he's the first lead tenor from Lebanon, but he has no accent, no foreign accent. He has no problem.
And also a phenomenal voice, just beautiful voice.
Beautiful voice and a good actor and a handsome stage figure. Dr. Joshua Jeremiah, well, he rather resembled my cousin Ron here.
Are you referring to looks or the drinking?
I've never seen you drink 2 glasses of champagne at the same time.
I don't drink champagne. I drink other things.
Well, the doctor drank champagne, probably for medicinal purposes. Giving dancing lessons, and delighted when they threw a ball. The ball is in every production of Vanessa, is in another room. So you hear echoes of it, and you see the servants passing, and you see the people going to and from the dance and commenting on how elegant the dancers look. But you don't see them. The conductor whose name I did not write down.
Okay.
Oh, no, it doesn't give the conductor's name.
All right. Well, I will look up the link and put it down in the description for those of you who want to do a little more research and maybe catch his other productions.
See it in May when it will be performed in New York. I don't know where.
There you go. I definitely recommend.
By Hearbeat Opera.
Yeah, Hearbeat Opera. I'll see if I can find a link for that too. So.
Oh yeah.
Highly recommend it.
They'll have a website.
Thank you for joining John and myself. John Yohalem has some fame as an opera critic. I, as you know, have none whatsoever. But I hope you enjoyed this little conversation about opera. And if you did, hit like and subscribe. And this is the first of, hopefully, many discussions of opera. And we hope to see you again. And like I said, hit like and subscribe. If you saw the production, hit down below in the comments. Let us know what you thought of it. And if you have anything else you'd like to add, stick it in the comments below. And if you'd like to hear some reviews of opera recordings or anything like that, also let us know. We can hopefully hit some interests of yours. Thank you very much.